I've said it before and I'll say it again. Man stress is harder than any lady stress, and everybody knows it. Stressed out male workers who feel underappreciated could be twice as likely to develop potentially deadly heart disease. According to a paper just published in the Journal of American Heart Association, joining me right now to validate my findings is invasive cardiologist in Fort Worth. It is Dr. Fahmi Farah. And Dr. Farah, it's just another study that shows man stress is worse than lady stress. That's the only conclusion anyone could come to in this, right?
Hey there. I just joined. I'm sorry I didn't get to hear your question.
Dr. Farah, I said it's obvious, and I'm glad you're here as a cardiologist in order to validate my findings, that man stress is harder than any lady stress, and that everybody already knows that.
Nice try.
All right. So why does the stress affect men differently then? If we're finding that man stressful jobs, and then feeling underappreciated shows that they're twice as likely to develop heart disease. That seems like a strong correlation.
It is, yes. I think it's multifactorial, to be honest with you. A lot of times men, they tend to internalize things more. They're less likely to seek help. As you saw in the study, it's talking about men who are working a lot. They're busy at their place, and so they're not really taking the time to take care of themselves. Like their healthy lifestyle is really not in balance. They're not able to put in the time to eat healthy or exercise. So I think it's more than one factor that's contributing to this data.
Sounds like a lot of societal pressures or social standards, I suppose, or roles, if you want to put it that way, that seem to be playing a part in the journal findings.
Oh, absolutely. I totally agree because, in general, in our society, even though, men and women they both carry a lot of stress factors. There are a lot of women, independently supporting themselves and their families. But as a culture, I think that men still carry that big burden for the most part. They naturally feel like it's their responsibility to provide, and as a result, there's a lot of stress on them. And I think that in general, as I said, men are less likely to open up in a timely manner about what's bothering them or whether there's any issues. They tend to internalize. And I think that in the long run adds to the stress factor and adds to risk factors. Like they're more likely to get high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes. They're more likely to their habits suffer. They tend to drink alcohol or smoking as a result, as avenues to mitigate those stress factors. That those are not the healthiest way of mitigating things, of course.
Sure. Yeah, the vices, of course. Dr. Fahmi Farah is an invasive cardiologist at Fort Worth. She's joining me now. A study is showing that dudes, stressed out male workers who feel underappreciated, and that's an important aspect of this too, twice as likely to develop a deadly heart disease. Now, as a cardiologist, you're going to look at things like blood pressure, and you're going to look at some of those habits like drinking and smoking and things like that. How much do you talk with your patients about some of those other more esoteric topics, self-care, say talk therapy, or some of the other things that can counter some of the social pressures that they're feeling?
Actually take this very seriously, and so pretty much at every encounter with every single patient, I take at least a few minutes to address this issue. So I take it very seriously, yes. I make that as a part of, I integrate that into every visit.
What do you do when you're talking to a patient and you're saying you're advocating for self-care? What do you tell a guy to do for self-care? My wife will say, this is self-care. I have to go take a bubble bath for 90 minutes. But for a dude, that's not to say I haven't appreciated a nice bubble bath here and there. It's not really the top of mind. Self-care, we don't think of sitting in a bubble bath for a while. So what sort of suggestions do you have for guys when you talk about, taking care of themselves, feeling better about themselves?
Activity. For the most part, the conversations I've had with my male patients and males in general, they're more activity-oriented. They have testosterone, so they're, they're more active. And I think exercise is really what mitigates their stress factors in the best way possible. I tell a lot of my patients, male patients, to take a walk in nature, like go hiking or jogging outdoors in nature, and that tends to give them that alone time to reflect, introspection, but at the same time getting that activity in, getting rid of some of the stress hormones like cortisol, and getting some good hormones like endorphins and things like that. And so I think activity really is the best way.
What happened? I love that. I love your suggestion, Dr. Farah, but I'm also a giant wimp when it comes to the heat. So this summer was pretty brutal, right? So what were you telling people to do this summer? I mean, joining a gym, or what was going on? Because getting outside was not really something I wanted to do.
Absolutely. You brought up a very valid point, especially in Texas. I would not have suggested anybody to be outdoors and running or jogging in that heat. So, yes, in those types of extreme weathers, like during severe heat of the summer or very freezing cold during the winter, it would be indoors. You could do indoor swimming, any kind of gym. Just join a gym. I tell my patients, listen to music, things that you enjoy that would be stress factor. Just take yourself out of that environment that stresses you out. Sometimes for males, it's not just work that's stressing them out. Sometimes it's family. Sometimes it's they're coming home and then there's a whole bunch of stuff that they have to take care of at home. There's kids. There's wife duties.
Yeah, wife.
So,
yeah.
So just take yourself out of that stressful environment and just put it on yourself, by yourself. Go to the gym, listen to music, go swimming indoors. So don't let the outdoor extreme weather get to you.
Okay. All right. So this is where sometimes I think also communication with the rest of your family and your partners is important because, and I brought this up a few times, the study shows not only stressed out from work, but also feeling underappreciated. And I think if you are communicating about your needs, that sometimes this is something I've learned, Dr. Farah, because listen, it's not like I haven't sat on the couch a few times. What I'm finding is communicating your needs. It's not that your partner doesn't want to tell you that they appreciate you. It's just that they don't know that you need to hear it so often. So just communicating that is important. So, Dr. Farah, great talking to you. I love talking to you. You're great. You're a wonderful guest.
Thank you so much for saying that, and I love being on your show.
Yeah, we're going to put you on the speed dial, so I appreciate you being here. Thank you, Dr. Farah. Dr. Fahmi Farah, invasive cardiologist in Fort Worth, and obviously knows what she's doing. Appreciate you.